Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6 and we would like to present our materials titled Integrating Media and Material Development Task. Our materials consist of 4 types: instructional media in teaching English to young learners, types of instructional media in teaching English to young learners, the use of instructional media in teaching English to young learners, and the last one is selecting instructional media in teaching English to young learners. So I will present to you the first material is that instructional media in teaching English to young learners. So media and development tasks aim to develop good reading habits, build knowledge of vocabulary and structures, and encourage students' reading interests. This requires students to read what they have written and what they get from reading materials. If language learning is a collective endeavor, then learning takes place most effectively when group classes pull together as unified groups. And according to Gerlach and Eli from 1992, state that learning media refers to anything that is used to function as a medium for the application of certain teaching methods or strategies in order to achieve instructional goals or objectives. Learning media can be categorized into 2. First, they refer to anything readily available that was not intentionally produced for teaching and then used for learning. For example, a market, post office, anthill in a schoolyard, or temple. And the second one is object or things or tools deliberately produced for instructional purpose. Hennig from 1982 and Romampunk from 1992 mentioned that there are at least 10 benefits of the use of media as follows. The first one is arousing curiosity or motivation, visualize abstract concepts to be concrete, explore the outside world, overcome the differences in learners, consist delivery of information, present past events, focus, describe complex objects, enlarge or reduce objects, and review the material studied before. I think that's the first materials. The next materials will be presented by my friend.
Okay, next slide about material about types of international media in teaching English to young learners. According to the mention, state that the material that can help students use visualization is reading interesting, their understanding and reasoning skill, and facilitating language acquisition. Visualization are the point 1, draw character production to active their knowledge of the world. Same, for example, such as providing interesting picture materials so that student thinking can run or helping student understand the material presentation more easily. The second, connect the text with event in their own lives to achieve the connection. That is mean in the second point, where we give example of material taken in daily life so that it is easier to understand. The third, linking the illustration provided with the visual themselves, it facilitates interactive reading, meaning that they make a connection by providing interactive reading example. The fourth, mimic quotes that help student exhibit visual and kinesthetic impact that it engagement understanding on relation. So that was an exampling of the visualization in providing material. I think enough. The next presentation.
Okay, so the next material will be explained by me, Nadila Yumakfira, and I will explain about the material and the media development task on extensive reading class. So there are 5 material and media development tasks that we can use. They are building story pyramid, changing storybook, building own storybook, developing digital storybook, and Caterpillar. So the first is building story pyramid. This task is usually individual task. In this task, the student asked to analyze their favorite story to determine the chronological order of a story by identifying the beginning, climax and the end of the story. The second is changing story. This task is also individual task. In this task, the student is instructed to find a story that they want to change. They can change the part that they didn't like or they thought not interesting. The students are required to read the story aloud, and the audience will comment on the changed story. The third is building own storybook. In this task is also individual task. After reading numerous books, the students are directed to write their own book manually. They can use the collection in the class library as the models. Then, afterwards, the students present the story of their own book. The fourth is developing digital storybook. This task is quite different because this task usually group task. In this task, the student can use any software supporting their story writing, for example, PowerPoint and Movie Maker. Next, they must present the digital storybook in groups. And the last is Caterpillar. The name of the task is Caterpillar, but the shape of the media didn't meet in Caterpillar shape. The main point was in this media, the students wrote their name in the head part, and then in the body part, they write the book title and their short comment on the book. So based on the research, the most important things students learn from the class were creativity and skill in making media, and practical technique or application of teaching enjoyable reading by using material for young learners. In addition, some of them also admitted that by doing all the tasks, their personal qualities in terms of motivation, patience, and responsibility improved. And at last but not least, there was one response telling about learning experience and technology related to the task of digital storybook development. So that's all about what can I explain. Hope you can understand.
So guys, I'm gonna tell you about selecting instructional media in teaching English to young learners. In Indonesia, teaching English to young learners is a part of curriculum. This degree results in the existence of English in elementary school, which is taught starting from the 4th grade, 2 credits hours every week. Besides knowing students' characteristics, using appropriate instructional media is one of the key principles in creating effective instruction. According to Reiser Dick, 1996, believe that in selecting instructional media, the teacher should consider 3 main factors: comprising, such as practicality, students' appropriateness, and the last is instructional appropriateness. I think that's all. You may read more about it on our material. Thank you.